So starting at the top here, we're supposed to consider a situation in which customers can subscribe for updates from a store whenever a wearable is added to that store. So in other words, whenever a wearable is added to the store's stock, the customers want to know about that addition and probably want to react accordingly. So that what that's telling us is that the customers are doing the observing and the store is what's being observed. So going over to the UML diagram, it would make most sense for the store to be the concrete subject or the concrete observable, extending the Java observable class, and the concrete observer should be the customer, implementing the Java observer interface. Now, reading the rest of what they want us to do, the customer wants access to that wearable so that they can then call getName on the wearable so that they can print out to the console that they're super excited to see that new wearable name inserted within that blank there. Now, that first paragraph actually tells us a lot about the implementation details, so let's go over to the UML diagram where I tried to capture some of them. So whenever a wearable is added to the store's stock, we want to keep the current implementation there, but then after the item is added to the stock, we want to call setChanged, signifying that the stock has changed state, or the store has changed state more accurately, and then notify observers passing in that wearable as an argument because they actually want access to the wearable itself so that they can call getName on it. And then reading that last sentence there, we can see that whenever customers are signed up, whenever they're added to the store, they're automatically signed up a subscriber. So basically we're forcing them into subscribing no matter what. So whenever a customer is added to the store, we're going to keep the current implementation, adding the customer to the store, whatever is needed there, and then actually adding them as an observer to the store's observers. And then also that is obviously captured within the concrete observer class as well. The update method has some implementation that's basically a setup, and then eventually printing something out, which is going to be this method. Now, how that's represented in the code here, we can see starting out with the store class that it extends observable, and what we're going to need to do is we're going to make small edits to the add wearable method and the add customer method. So whenever a wearable is added to the stock within this if statement, we're going to call setChanged, and then we're going to call notify observers and pass in that wearable as an argument so that the observers can call getName on it. Now, alternatively, we could actually just pass them in the string, and they can just work with the string alone. However, the question did say that they actually want to be the ones to call getName on the wearable, so we're just going to go ahead and pass that wearable in as an argument. Now going over to the add customer method, whenever a customer is added, we also want to add them as an observer, so we're going to pass that in there. And since customer is already implementing observer, that compiles. Now going over to the customer class, as I had mentioned, it implements observer, and then we need to provide that update method implementation. So we know that we want to essentially print out this statement here. And then we want to print out the name of the wearable here. Now, what we essentially want to do is we want to call arg.getName. Oh, geez, I can't type. But we actually can't because an object does not have a getName function. So we essentially need to tell Java that this argument is actually a wearable item. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a check here to make sure that it indeed is a wearable item, and then we are going to create a new wearable item and actually cast that. So this is essentially telling, it's basically allowing us to create a local variable by casting this object argument to the wearable item if and only if that argument is of type wearable, because we want to do this check just to make sure, because improperly casting an argument can definitely cause issues, which it certainly would in this scenario. So then we can actually call a wearable.getName, and that should be the end of the problem. There is one thing that I wanted to mention though as well, is that this association here actually does not have much of anything to do with the observer pattern. The observer pattern is mostly captured through these relationships here, and this relationship here purely exists because the store actually contains a set of customers and a map of customers as well with their baskets. So there's actually a lot that they have to associate with customers quite heavily, aside from just this subscriber relationship that we set up. Yeah, I think that pretty much brings it to a conclusion. Don't think there's much else to say here. I guess we can run it, see that it works. Main 2 customers, 4 things added. That means it should be 8 lines in total. And as you can see, there's 2 lines per item added, 1 from Mike, 1 from Ali, and 8 lines in total. So we can see that that worked out properly.